Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. You know, majority of Americans are in debt, and some have tens of thousands of dollars of debt. And with Harvey hitting Houston as hard as it did, even more people are finding themselves struggling financially. So this morning we have some possible solutions. It's a boot camp, not for your body though, for your pockets, for your financial fitness. Here to talk more about this is Mr. Vernon Smith, who is one of the facilitators of the Debt Boot Camp, which is sponsored by Capital One Bank and Windsor Village Church. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
And the lovely Sharita Clark, who recently completed the Debt Boot Camp. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you guys for coming on the program. The Debt Boot Camp. Please explain to me, what is the Debt Boot Camp?
Well, the Debt Boot Camp was a vision of Pastor Kirby John Caldwell. He walking the KBC, the Kingdom Builders Center, with Lori Vignard of Capital One, and just brainstorming. And he had a vision that he wanted to know if they could put something together to help people get out of debt and address their financial concerns and issues. And inside of Windsor Village, Dr. Earl Allen had already been teaching from his book, How to Get Out and Stay Out of Debt and Become Financially Fit. And so that idea was born and birthed, and Capital One took on the reins as the major sponsor. And we have put together an awesome program that benefits not only members of Windsor Village United Methodist Church, but anyone in the community, whether you're a member or not. You can participate in the program totally free.
Wow. That's great. That is amazing. Sharita, how did you find out and become a part, or what made you want to do the Debt Boot Camp?
Just what Vernon said, when I heard about getting out of debt and staying out of debt, I was already on a mission to becoming debt-free and financial independence. And so when I heard about it from my financial coach, she's like, I think that this would push and take you to the next level of debt freedom to really get you there. So I immediately signed up, and it has been life-changing.
Wow. What are some of the biggest obstacles that people get from getting out of debt?
Well, I'd say one, in my mind, the foremost obstacle I've seen over the years has been the pressure that America puts on you to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, and the pressure to have what you see on television and be up to date, current, have the latest, be in the know, so to speak, and not basically be self-disciplined enough to know, hey, I only have so much income and there's going to be X number of expenses and I've got to manage that. Yeah.
That seems to be a lot of black folks' problems. It seems to be almost generational when it comes to that. Why do you think that is? That we want to keep up with the Joneses. We want to have, I've met people who have, $75,000 cars, but yet they live in a small apartment. And I'm like, priorities, because I remember when I was growing up, I heard E40 say on the song, don't buy a $50,000 car before you buy a house.
Right.
And that stuck with me.
Okay.
Something else also stuck with me. Oprah said, I was about 14 years old. I heard Oprah say, if I can't go into an establishment and see something I like and pay for it, buy it and own it outright, then I can't afford it. And that always stuck with me. So why do you think that in the black community that we always end up being in debt and trying to keep up with and to impress everybody else?
I think for myself, I can say that it was just a lack of resources and knowledge. I didn't have the tools that I now have, that I can now pass and create generational wealth and teach debt freedom, because I didn't see that in my community. It wasn't a force that was behind me. But once I believe that what Vernon said, once you get the information, it's really going to penetrate you, because you're going to be around amongst your peers of every age group, of every color. Debt boot camp is not just one ethnicity. It's just not for the African American community. And I think that with us all coming together and really talking about it and just laying it out, like Vernon always teaches, you know what, just face your demon, your debt demons. Because you're not going to be able to move forward if you can't do that. You have to really look at yourself and learn that. I learned one takeaway that I learned from being in that boot camp, that no is a complete sentence. That no is a complete sentence.
Wow.
And sometimes we feel pressure to say no. We feel under the gun not to say no. So I think a lot of that keeping up with the Joneses is because we're scared to say no.
I like that. Sharita. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Vernon Smith and Sharita Clark from the Debt Boot Camp, which is being put on by Capital One Bank and Windsor Village Church. Take us through the boot camp. What will people who sign up and go through the process, what is it like? What will they endure? Is it classes? Is it hands-on? Is it experimentation? Sharita, you went through it. So tell us your journey. How did it work?
Just like you want to change your physical appearance, you're going to have to peel back some layers. And
expose some things that you don't want to see, look at, probably didn't even know that was there.
You didn't get to this weight and you didn't get to this debt overnight.
Right.
So you can't think that it's going to just be like a quick fix. This is not a get rich scheme. You really have to go within yourself and be honest with yourself, because you're really going to peel back some layers. You may cry a little bit, but you know what? There's joy on the other side of your tears, and there's less stress being out of debt. I can wake up because I'm not worried about my bills.
Yeah.
My credit score allows me to have options.
Yeah.
I can now choose what builder to build my house. I can teach my boys I can't teach them to be men, but I can teach them to be financially savvy. And that's a big piece of it.
Oh, that's a huge thing. Every time I have people who are financially literate on the program, I always ask them, where do you think the responsibility lies when it comes to financial education and financial literacy? Because they teach us very little in school, teach you how to balance a checkbook, but they don't explain to you what credit is and how it will mess up your life. So I always ask that question, like, where you think the responsibility lies.
We teach in the class that a part of my sessions, I explain that what has happened in America is purposeful misinformation. It's not what you're taught. It's what you're not taught about money and finances.
And that goes back to slavery. I tell them, when I have these discussions with white folks, and they always have these preconceived notions, or, these theories, these myths or whatnot. I'm like, it all goes back to slavery, everything. And then not to mention the systemic oppression of us. They of course they're not going to give us the tools, because deep down they know that we are the all-powerful, and they don't want to give us that.
That keeps you a free slave.
Right, exactly. Come on now.
Sharita can tell you that one of my sayings in the class is, it would be ignorant for the master to teach the slaves what he's doing, because you just might be intelligent enough to do it
and outdo him.
And that's where you lose, or they would lose control. And so we have to educate and teach principles that have been there all along. They just weren't taught to certain communities.
You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Vernon Smith and Sharita Clark from the Debt Boot Camp. So can you share some success stories, Mr. Smith, of people? I know we're sitting with one right here.
I mean, but we've had people who had no chance of thinking of buying a home, and just our last session, and someone got a home and was totally blown away by the fact that there was so much assistance from the partners and the community partners that we have in the program. I can cover a few of those, which I will, but those down payment assistance and other programs and things that we brought to the table, helping them increase their credit scores, just the package, the combination of everything that is taught throughout the program enabled her to buy a home when she had no idea that she'd be able to do that when she started the Debt Boot Camp class. We've had people increase their credit scores by 100 points.
Wow.
Within the 7th-month program, period.
Wow. Shut up. Sharita, you can attest to that, huh?
I like Vernon always told us, you know what, keep your receipts.
Okay.
So I kept every score from the time that I started, and I am very happy to say that I will be in the 800 club across the board. Thanks to the Debt Boot Camp. And I started in the very low 500s to the maybe 600 on one of my scores, but I am very close to being 800 across the board. So 7 months. You can do it, and it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anybody. You just need the tenacity to get up and to be dedicated to do it.
So not only is it free, but there are some benefits. Can you tell us about that?
The first benefit is Capital One gives every attendee a free savings account, and not only free, but within that 7-month period, if you deposit at least $500 into that account, they'll match and give you $100.
Shut up.
And so that's just the first benefit from Capital One. Then we've got a 1-to-1 match up to $2,000. 1-to-1 match up to $2,000 for qualified participants through Covenant Community Capital. That's that down payment assistance I was talking about.
Stop playing with me, Mr. Smith.
No, we're not playing. We're talking about free estate planning packets and legal advice for participants on real property, estate planning issues, things like that, through the Earl Carl Institute, one of our community partners. So there's a host of it. Basically, it's been said that if you totaled up the totality of everything that participants receive in this 7-month course, it's the equivalent of $5,000 to $7,000 package that participants are getting totally free.
Wow.
So there are some serious benefits to participating in Debt Boot Camp.
Oh, man. I am sitting here blown. Seriously. Wow. I'm sorry. I need to snap back into it. I am really blown away by this. So, how can people sign up? When is the registration period?
Well, the registration period is now through. You can go online to thekbc.com/debtbootcamp. That's www.thekbc.com/debtbootcamp. That takes you immediately to a registration page that you can register. And so the only thing that you have to do is register and then attend one of 2 orientations. The first orientation is October 28th, and then November the 11th. And it's just from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And that's on a Saturday. And that's it. That's the only cost involved in being in the program. Register and then attend an orientation. And the very first class starts November 18th.
And how is this class going to help the Harvey victims?
Well, number one, we're going to cover tenants' rights. We're going to cover FEMA applications and appeals, flood insurance, mortgage relief. In addition to everything we normally cover in the class, we're going to specifically have a session where someone comes in and dedicates that session to talk about Harvey relief. But throughout the program, everybody will be adding tidbits of their classes to show how those things can be covered and help them to turn around their situation despite what Harvey has brought upon us.
Nice. You listen to Access Houston, talking to Vernon Smith and Sharita Clark from the Debt Boot Camp, being sponsored by Capital One Bank and Windsor Village Church. For those who are listening, maybe they don't have the time to come to class or, just other situations with everything that's going on here in their lives. What is one thing that a person can do to help them get out of debt? Just one thing to start, just that first step.
The first step is to want to. That's the first step, because they can give you all of the resources and all of the tools to do it, but you have to want it. And so once you've made that commitment to yourself that you're going to get out of debt and stay out of debt, budget. Budget is going to take you to a place that you've never been. If you've never done it before, and even if you have, you've never seen it the way that they're going to do it. They're going to show you exactly how you're going to stay on track with budgeting, because that's the first key for you to understand what's coming in and what's going out.
Okay.
That budgeting is a 4-letter word, that term 4-letter word. Budget is one of those 4-letter words that we cannot stand, because why? It means that I have to apply some discipline to myself. I have to go outside of what my flesh wants to do and do what I know to be the right thing to do. And that is where people face the biggest challenge. If you were not to attend that boot camp and you wanted one key, I have for years taught people, generally, if you financially look at what everyone else is doing and do the opposite, you'll be financially free in this country. All of your friends, unfortunately, some of our relatives, but the bottom line is most people were not taught the right thing to do with money, and everything that they're doing financially is totally wrong. And so if you never attended a class, which I believe everybody should make it a point to come sign up, be in the class right away. But if you were not able to, look at everything, because what I did as a youngster in life, I looked at my family, I looked at my friends, I saw growing up, and I saw what everybody had, what they had after working so hard every week, and I said, it doesn't line up to what I believe God wants for me, and I have to do something different. And I made a decision I was going to do something different than what I saw everybody else doing. And God has blessed me tremendously, because that's that phrase, the road less traveled, that applies to financial fitness. And so sometimes it's going to hurt when you're going against the grain and your friends all want to go shopping and you say, I know I'm not going to do that this weekend. I've got some other things I'm committed to. And see, people feel like they have to explain everything. And the one thing you have to realize is, no, I only owe an explanation to God for what I'm doing with my life. And I don't have to explain the details to you. I have a plan. I'm working this plan to get to a destination, which is financial freedom, debt freedom, whatever that may be. And if you focus on that, you don't owe an explanation to everybody that trying to figure out, well, why you want to do that? Well, why you want to do the opposite? Or why? Well, that's what I believe would be the biggest key to somebody succeeding.
So change your mindset. I think Damon Williams from Shark Tank, my youngest brother, he's reading this book. He tells me about it all the time. Think like you're broke. And he's been thinking like he's broke and saving money under the table. Yeah. So that's pretty smart.
I mean, that's one of the goals to the debt boot camp, is to help you get out of debt, but help you create a financial savings plan, something that you can understand. Rich people operate by principle. Poor people operate off emotions. It's, child, I got this check. I'm going to have a good time this weekend. And the rich man says, hey, out of every dollar I get, a certain percentage going here, a certain percentage going there, a certain percentage going there. And whatever is left or whatever I allocate toward pleasure, that's all I'm going to deal with in regards to that. But I've already committed this. And so it's not anything emotional about it, strictly
logic.
Discipline. And so
discipline and logic. Man, well, listen here. You need to sign up for the Debt Boot Camp. All you got to do is go to the kbc.com/Debt Boot Camp. That's the kbc.com/Debt Boot Camp to sign up. And the first class is October the 28th, Saturday, and then the next one will be November the 11th. Where are the classes? Where would they be located, Mr. Smith?
At the Kingdom Builders Center at 6011 West Durham. and that's right at the intersection of South Post Oak and West Durham.
Okay, so sign up and get debt free. Get your financial fitness in shape. Yeah. Get it right. Man, I really appreciate you all coming through, Mr. Vernon Smith and Sharita Clark.
Thank you for the opportunity.
This has been great. This has been awesome because so many people need this information, myself included. Okay.
I just want to mention, we owe the program to Pastor Kirby John and his initial impetus to want to do something for the community. Mm-hmm. But we would like to thank Windsor Village church family. We'd like to thank the KBC and their entire staff. Earl Carl Institute is a major community partner. The Bridge Path helps with the credit and getting those credit scores up. Covenant Community Capital and what they do with their matching and helping people to have the funds in order to, purchase homes and college education, those sorts of things. So without these partners and everybody participating, my company, the Dominion companies, they're totally giving their services free of charge, their time, to help affect change in the community. And that's what it's all about. Everybody pitching in to say, hey, we can take us to another level, but it's going to cost. And right now, there's no charge from any of these partners for providing the facilities. Capital One covers most of the expenses, and basically, it's just a blessing to the community.
Indeed, and so are you all.
Thank you.
So are you. Everybody at Kingdom Builders, the folks at Capital One, Windsor Village. I mean, this is awesome. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Good Sunday morning. You are listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. We got a lot of first timers in the studio on the show today, and in the studio with me is the lovely Kimberley Barnes-Henson, who is the president of Houston Black Real Estates Association. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. You are doing something that is incredible for the people of H-Town. We'll get into that a little later, but first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I am a native Houstonian. And I'm going to say this because I know that a lot of my fellow classmates are listening. I am a graduate of Sterling High School. Go Raiders. So I just wanted to have the opportunity to shout out to them. But I am currently the president of the Houston Black Real Estate Association. And I'm also a real estate broker of 20 years here in the city. This is my city. I love it. I'm a family-oriented person. And this event that we're here to talk about today is near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad to share.
Indeed. And so let's talk about the event. It's the 2MN5 Home Ownership and Veterans Initiative event. That was a lot. So let me say it again so I can say it right. 2MN5 Home Ownership and Veterans Initiative event. So tell me about this event. It's happening on November the 4th. So what is this event?
Well, this event is all about home ownership. It is such a unique opportunity and event because we're going to be honoring our veterans. November is a month where we do have Veterans Day. So across the country, our parent organization is NARAB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers. 30 to 40 chapters will be hosting the same event either November 4th or November 11th across the country. We want to make sure that home ownership is possible for anyone who wants or desires to own a home. Our mission is democracy and housing. We have a special twist this time that our focus is going to be our veterans and our active duty military. We'll have a special wing there just for them to provide information not only on housing, but we're taking the holistic approach. And we want to provide them services that will help them in every area of their life.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest misconceptions when trying to purchase your first home?
Absolutely. Some of the biggest misconceptions are you have to have perfect credit. A lot of people have those issues. Credit is certainly important, but there are a lot of programs out there that for people who are in the beginning stages of credit, or they are recovering from some past credit issues, there are certainly opportunities out there for them. We also deal with the issues of down payment. A lot of people are not aware of the grants and services that are out there that are available, not only the first-time home buyers. And that's one of the myths that I love to debunk, is that there are services and grants available to people who have previously owned a home as well. And if I must say, also, one additional thing is a lot of people think that they have to be low to middle income, and that's the only way they would qualify for some of the grants and services. And I'm talking free money. That is not the case. There are some grant programs out there that if your income or your household income can be up to $120,000 a year and you still would qualify for grant funds, that is not by any means low income.
Wow. Thank you for debunking that. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Kimberley Barnes-Henson, who's the president of Houston Black Real Estate Association. The 2MN5 Homeownership and Veterans Initiative is happening on November the 4th. So what programs will be available for the participants who come out to the event?
Sure. One of the main things is in our title, the 2MN5. That's 2 million new African-American homeowners over the next 5 years. That is the mission and goal of the organization. African-American homeownership is the lowest that it has been since the Great Depression. We're among the lowest ethnicity in homeownership, which means that we're also the lowest in wealth. So our 2MN5 program mission, and one of the main things that we'll be focusing on while we're here at this housing fair, is educating the consumer so that they understand what is needed for them to become homeowners. Nice.
What was the inspiration behind this? Let me just.
Yeah, this inspiration to me was divine. It actually came from our former national president. He made a call out because in looking at the low numbers for African-American homeownership, since the mortgage debacle, we are the only race that did not recover. So we had that big mortgage crisis, where there were all these foreclosures. Every other race of people have since recovered the wealth that they lost or even surpassed where they were at that time. We have not. As a matter of fact, we're at a decline. We're at the lowest that we have been. And I did say before, since the Great Depression, that's a long, long time ago. So not only are we affected in homeownership, since homeownership is the number one wealth building tool in America, that means we're also lacking in wealth. And we need to improve that.
Indeed. With what happened back in 2008 when the economy collapsed and, you know, all of these subprime mortgage loans and all of that got people trapped. Is it safe to say that that was predatory, that they actually were seeking out and giving these loans to people who they knew could not handle it?
Can I debunk another myth?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yes, it was predatory, to answer your first question. The second thing is that many people have said that these people could not afford to own a home. In many cases, a lot of the African-American buyers also had the same credit score as some of our white counterparts, the same income and things like that, yet they were offered the subprime loans over the fixed rate loans. So they were offered a subprime product over a prime product, which was a riskier loan type. So it's not necessarily that these people could not afford the home. It was a loan product that was issued to them.
That just, you know, I don't know, when things like that, you know, are purposely done to us, which has been since we set foot on this land, it just makes me shake my head. You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Kimberley Barnes, who's the president of the Houston Black Real Estate Association. The 2MN5 Home Ownership and Veterans Initiative event, November the 4th. Why is this so important?
Well, it's important, number one, that we're educating the consumer and letting them know that they don't have to be relegated to being renters. When you are a renter, you are never in a position to begin to own that property. It's just like renting a car that the value's always, purchasing a car, the value always depreciates. When you buy a house, you're buying an asset that appreciates. So paying your mortgage every month versus paying rent, it's like money in the bank. Every time you pay that mortgage, you're essentially paying yourself. When you pay your rent, at the end of that term, the landlord says, goodbye, thank you. and they're on to the next person. If you need to sell your home, you have an opportunity to sell it for market value. So if the value of over time has increased, not only do you get that back, but you're able to get back a percentage of what you also paid into your home. That would never, ever happen with renting.
This is so good. And for those that may have missed it, talk about that 2 million and 5 initiative. You're trying to get 2 million black folks in homes in 5 years.
Absolutely. We are on a mission, and we say I've got numbers and data that I can spew for Houston. Houston being such a diverse market, we're not diverse in the way of home ownership. We are the lowest here in the city of Houston. Houston, we have a problem, but Houston, we have a solution. Okay. And the solution is the 2 million and 5 program. So the Houston Black Real Estate Association is actively putting out education. We're bringing together lenders. We're bringing together housing counselors, real estate professionals, insurance professionals, all under one roof. There is no reason for anyone that want to own a home not to be present on November 4th to receive the needed information so that they can walk away empowered to become a homeowner.
That is so incredible. How can people register and get more information? Like, what's the first thing that these folks need to do?
Wonderful. Absolutely. There's several ways that you can reach out to us. We certainly want you to register so that we can expect you and prepare for you. Please do so by going to www.hbreahouston.org and look for the 2 million and 5 Homeownership and Veterans Initiative event. You can register there. You can also find us on Eventbrite. Look for the 2 million and 5 Homeownership and Veterans Initiative event on eventbrite.com, and you can register that way. If for some reason you cannot register using the web, then please call us. We'll be happy to help you at 713-551-2092.
And where's the event going to be held?
Yes, the event is going to be held on November 4th at the Kingdom Builder Center. Okay. And that's at 6011 West Orem in Houston. It is a part of the Windsor Village Church, sure, but we'll be hosting it at the Kingdom Builder Center and would love to have anyone. I want to stress one thing, if you don't mind. Okay. I want to stress one thing. Yes, we are the Houston Black Real Estate Association. We are trying to improve black home ownership. But our organization's goal is democracy in housing. So I don't want to leave that out. That means anyone, regardless of race, color, gender, that wants to own a home can receive help from our organization and come out to this event and get the information that's needed. So please, anyone that is looking or that needs to have information about home ownership or that even want to apply on site that day, we're going to have lenders who will pre-approve you on site that day, people who will help you with your credit issues that day. Please come out.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Ms. Henson. Kimberley Barnes-Henson, the president of Houston Black Real Estate Association. 2M&5 Home Ownership and Veterans Initiative event, November 4th at the Kingdom Builder Center, which is a part of Windsor Village, on November the 4th. You can register right now. Give us that website once again for them to register.
Yes, www.hbreahouston.org.
Yes, and Houston, stand up, get this information, especially to my vets out there. You see how they do you, you know. So come in and do yourself right, you know. Kimberley, thank you so much. This has been some great information, and I'm glad that you debunked a lot of these myths and misconceptions that are out there.
Thank you so much for having me. Please have me back again. I'd love to share more.
Absolutely, indeed. And thank you for listening to Access Houston.